Hello everybody, I'm Dan. Welcome to my Java tutorial series. Throughout my tutorials I'll teach you Java using just Notepad and the command prompt. The order in which my tutorials are organized on both my website at javacjava.com and my YouTube playlist is designed to maximize learning by building on concepts from prior tutorials. This tutorial is an introduction to I/O. I'm going to open up my web browser to my website, javacjava.com, select Begin. Let's scroll all the way down to the Introduction to I/O. As I am sure you are aware, the term I/O is simply short for input-output. Now the I/O system in Java is actually quite complex, and that is due in most part from the way that Java has evolved over time. The thing to understand in the concept of I/O is a stream. So what is a stream? Well, in its most basic form, a string simply represents a sequence of data, bytes or Unicode characters, in some sort of sequential queue. Now, a good analogy of an input stream would be a bunch of people waiting to board a plane at an airport gate. Conversely, an output stream would be the people on the airplane that just landed. At that moment in time, both groups are simply queued up and waiting for something to happen. Now, in the world of programming, an input stream contains data that is waiting to be consumed by something, whereas an output stream contains data that is waiting to be produced into something. Now that we understand what an I/O stream is, we now need to know that there are two basic categories for the type of data contained in those streams: character and byte. I think it says streams. So, character streams contain data that is represented in Unicode format, which makes a character stream a good candidate for things like keyboard input and console output. Now, byte streams contain binary data. This is useful for things such as reading and writing to files. Just imagine opening up an image file in a text editor. We've all done that. That's a good representation of byte data. Now, in order to support both byte streams and character streams, Java has two distinct hierarchies that contain many interfaces and classes that essentially do the same thing. Only one for byte streams and another for character streams. Throughout all my tutorials up to this point, we've been using the system.out println method to display data to the console. The system.out is the basic standard output stream, which by default is to the console. The system.in is the standard input stream, which by default is the keyboard. Over the next few tutorials, I will demonstrate several different ways to consume input data from the keyboard. Now let's begin by using the system.in.read method, which is the most basic but not the most friendly of the input methods. Alright, let's go ahead and scroll down here to the source code. Let's highlight it. Control-C to copy, or right-click and select copy. I'm going to move my browser off screen, and I've got a shortcut to the command prompt on my desktop, but if you don't, you can create one really fast by right-clicking, selecting New, Shortcut, CMD, Next, and Finish. Alright, it's just that easy. Let's go and open that up. First thing you want to do is type in Java C. You should see all this stuff scroll by. If you receive an error message, watch my tutorial on installing and configuring the Java development kit. I'll make sure you get that done correctly. CLS to clear the screen, CD space /. CD is short for change directory, / tells it to go to the root. I'm going to make a directory here called Java using the MD command. I already have that folder, but if you don't, I'm going to go ahead and create it for you. Now I'm going to go ahead and make another directory here called IO intro. And I'm going to change directories with the CD command to IO intro. And then I'm going to notepad IO intro.java. IOintro.java will be the name of my source code file, also known as a compilation unit. Alright, let's go ahead and paste all that stuff in there. Control V or right click and select paste. We'll come up here and save this. So simple class, our main method. First thing I'm going to do is declare and initialize this variable letter, primitive int data type, set it equal to 0. Display this to the console using system.out, which we now know is an output stream, and invoking the print method here displays that by default to the console, this string literal right here. Now, what we're going to do is, using the input stream, which is system.in, we're going to invoke the read method. Now, the read method has two different, it's overloaded. It has either no parameters or a single parameter containing a byte array. So we're going to pick on the no parameter one first. The read method returns back a primitive int data type, so we'll assign that to the letter variable. And then we'll display to the console, right, using the output stream, invoking the println method. I can actually explain all this now. So we'll display this string literal plus letter. Now letter will be represented as a int value first. If we actually want to see it, well, we'll have to cast it to char. All right, so, and then basically I've got a bunch of stuff commented here. So let's go ahead and just, let's run this real quick. Save, let's clear our screen, let's compile this, Java C, Java, and then we'll run it, right? All right, so type a letter and press enter. A, enter. You type 97, you type A. Let's pop back over here to my browser here, and I've already got my char data type ready to go here for my tutorials. Now in my char primitive data type tutorials, I've got an ASCII chart starting at basically at the space, which is decimal 32 down here, of what these translate into. So a lowercase a is a decimal 97, so you can see you type 97, and that's the A there. So that's the way that works. All right, let's go ahead and throw a whole bunch of monkey wrenches into this, which is basically what the read method is until you learn what goes on there. And I'm going to leave that comment, and I'm just going to move my multi-line comment down to after this. So now let's do another thing where we'll do basically the exact same thing as up here. Type another letter and press enter. This is commented out. Let's go ahead and just save this here, and let's run it. Let's clear our screen, recompile, rerun, press enter. So let's do A, right? And then let's press enter. You type 97, A, and then we got our this is displayed here, and then it says type another and press enter. You typed 13, you typed, and then that, right? And then you can see we're back to our thing there. So you're like, oh, what just happened there? Well, that is a good question. Let's go ahead and move our multi-line, start of our multi-line comment back up here. And what I'm going to do is I am going to take these two lines and copy them, and I'm going to put them, actually, you know what, yes, I'm going to put them here, and I'm going to put them here, okay? So let's go ahead and select save. You might be a little confused right at the moment, but this will make a lot of sense. You'll have your aha moment in just a moment here. So let's recompile this, and let's rerun it, okay? Type a letter and press enter. So we press A, and it says you type 97 and A. These first two exactly what we expect. You type 13, you type 10. Well, it's absolutely correct. That's exactly what we typed. Let's run it again here, right? I press the letter A. Now what happens when we press enter on the keyboard? Well, when we press enter on the keyboard, two things happen. A carriage return is sent, and a line feed is sent, okay? Carriage return basically returns, well, the carriage to the basically the left oriented there, right? And then carriage, and then the line feed displays it on another line there. All right. So if we come back over here, I only did up to, I didn't do the carriage return line feed stuff over here, but I've got an ASCII chart that I just Googled over here. So if you come up here, and 13 is what was entered, which is our carriage return, and then 10 is of course our line feed. So what happens here when we do the system.in, that's the input stream. So in that input stream, it basically keeps that input stream queued up until we press enter. Now when we press enter, that puts a line feed and a form feed into the queue as well, right? So let's do something, one more thing here. I'm gonna put another one down here, just so you I'll put two more of them down here, right? And let's go ahead and save this out here. And let's clear our screen, let's recompile this. Boy. Rerun it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in ASD, 3 letters, and then, so that is queued up in our input stream. And then when I press enter, that's going to queue another, basically a carriage return and line feed as well. So you typed in A, and then 115, and then 100, right? If we come back over to our ASCII chart over here, 115 is going to be lowercase s, right? Here's 115, lowercase s, and what else was it? 100, right? And a lowercase n. And of course I could have just done those, or cast them to a char data type, as well in there, but I just wanted to show you that all the numeric stuff that's going through there. So we basically did a 97, a 115, 100, and a 13, and a 10. All right, so let's go ahead and take all this junk out because we don't need that anymore. We want to actually make this work. So what we're going to do is we're going to uncomment this. Now this is the escape sequence, or the char literal, for a line feed, right? Which is the new line, escape sequence, which is a 10-to as well, which we can do that, right? So we can basically loop through the whole entire console and display stuff until we get to the new line, right? Which is the ASCII 10. And then we know that the input stream is empty at that point in time. So that's what hopefully you had your aha moment and like, I get the input stream now. I got it. That is what the input stream is. Let's just go ahead and play around with it a little bit here with the while statement. So let's go CLS and let's Java C. And let's run this again. And let's do ASD, right? And this is U-typed. Oh, you know what? I have that. Let's move this down here. And yeah, I should do that for the next little section there too as well. So we want that to be there. All right, let's go ahead and save this, recompile it. ASD, right? And you typed A, and here's S and D, and that's because, of course, I'm using the print line there. So now we can kind of go ahead and that's how the read method works there with no parameters, right? We basically read byte by byte by byte until the queue is empty. All right, so let's go ahead and uncomment this down. Let's move our multi-line comment all the way down to here. And let's save this. Let's clear our screen. Let's run it. Okay, so we do A, B, C, right? And then when I press enter, that'll queue a carriage return line feed in there. You type A, B, C, right? Now, a carriage return line feed doesn't actually display anything on there other than doing a carriage return line feed. So now we're back into the next little section here where we can type another letter in there, right? This one I've still got that in there, so it'll display like whatever on that. Let's go ahead and just type in X and then enter, right? X is 120, ASCII 120. All right, so that is how basically the read method works with no parameters. Let's go ahead and multi-comment this up here and move this all the way up to here and talk about the overloaded version of it, which takes a byte array. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to come up here and save this. So I'm declaring a byte array with a length of 10. And then I'm using the output stream, invoking the print method, types and passing in, of course, this string literal to display to the console. And then using the input stream, invoking the read method, and for the parameter or argument, I'm passing it in B array. It's receiving the parameter as from the method inside of it there. And then I'm displaying to the console using the output stream and the print method in this particular thing instead of print line. You typed, and then I'm looping through the byte array, byte by byte, and displaying that to the console, right, using the output stream and the print method. I'm just reiterating this. It's just, it'll sink in there. And of course, I'm casting it as a char type. So let's go ahead and save this here. And let's clear our screen. Let's recompile. Rerun. And let's press A. You typed A. All right, let's rerun it again. AB. You pressed AB. ABC. You pressed ABC. All right, let's rerun it again. ASDF. 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 And you typed, and you can see it just basically truncated it at 10 characters there. So this is the problem with the read method there. I mean, it has several problems there, but you can loop through it up here, or you can put it into a byte array down there. But your byte array would have to be you could allocate a whole bunch of bytes, and since bytes are only a byte long, it doesn't really much matter. We could create this thing as 10,000 bytes long if we really wanted to. Just allocating unnecessary memory there. So not necessarily totally efficient on the stream there on that, but at least that'll fix it on that. So, but you need to be aware of both different ways on that. So now we can type in whatever we want, and as you can see, because we allocated all of that space to the array there, it went through and looped through the whole entire array. We could put some logic in there checking for if it's equal to, well, not even really null bytes or whatnot there. So that's why I say it's not the most friendly of the read method is really not the most friendly way to do stuff there, but that basically gives you guys an idea on how all that works there, and how specifically what an input stream is, and how you can iterate through it or take that input stream and store it into like a byte array. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get this off screen, that off screen, and I'm just going to leave you with just a quick final thought there. It's important to note that the read method, is actually reading, byte data in primitive int and putting it into a primitive int data type. I have, simply converted it to a readable Unicode characters by casting it to type char, right? So, and when I was talking about, like, for example, byte types and character types, the read method actually reads byte types. So anyway, I'm going to get into some stuff in the next tutorials that'll, basically with reading character input from the keyboard in several different ways, and then writing stuff to files and everything like that over the next several tutorials there. So, but anyway, that concludes this tutorial. Thanks for watching.